How old is your Welsh surname, and what is its origin? You're probably familiar with this. It's one of those family coat of arms write-ups for the surname Davis. In part, it says, the Welsh family name Davis emerged as a notable family name in Flint, where they were recorded as a family of great antiquity, seated with manor and estates in that shire. They were descended from Cynrig Efell, Lord of Eglwys Egle, the twin son of Madog ab Maredydd, the great-grandson of Bleddyn ap Cynfyn, Prince of Powys, head of the honorable and worthy Third Royal Tribe of Wales. As a professional genealogist, I'm here to tell you that all of this is bullshit. Yes, bullshit. This Davis surname write-up and coat of arms has absolutely nothing to do with my Davis family, or yours if you have Davis ancestors. And the same goes for any other Welsh surname. This other one that comes with a nice coat of arms is nice enough to say in small print that no genealogical connection is implied or intended in this document. They don't really have any connection to your average person's family history. So what we're going to do today is some myth busting, and put them up against my actual Davis family tree. So we'll start with the Davis line that I get my surname from. We start from my grampy, then his father Thomas John Davis, his father Thomas Davis, his father William Davis, his father Jacob Davis, and finally his father Evan David. This is my line of tradespeople. Most of them worked as blacksmiths like Evan David, and there's a carpenter or two in there as well. Evan David was born in 1777 in Llandybia, Carmarthenshire. He spent his life working as a blacksmith there, making farm implements. He also made armaments for the soldiers who fought against the last naval invasion of mainland Britain when the French invaded at Fishguard in 1797. He was also likely the bard Ivan David the Gov, or Evan David the Blacksmith, referred to in the book The Parish History of Llandybia. Only one of his songs remains, and it recounts the names of all of the rivers and streams in the parish. Most of Evan David's sons became blacksmiths like him, and his daughters married to men in similar kinds of work. One of his sons moved to Llandovery and became a hatter. He was the father of Dan Isaac Davis, the famous 19th century defender of the Welsh language. But as you can see, Evan David wasn't a Davis. He was my transitionary ancestor between the patronymic naming system, where you take on your father's first name as your last, and the hereditary one, where you have one surname that gets passed down unchanged across generations. Even his son Jacob, who went by Davis on all of the official records, still was named Jacob David on his tombstone. And as for his son John, he and his descendants didn't settle on a hereditary surname until the 1850s. Evan David also wasn't a landed noble with an estate and a fancy lineage going back to the Prince of Powys. He was just a local blacksmith. As for his father, I haven't been able to find him yet. There's some evidence that his name was David Thomas, and some relatives say that his name was Rhys Davis, but so far I'm unconvinced. This transition generation can be really difficult to get past and is a sticking point for a lot of Welsh people looking into their family tree. And if you have Welsh ancestry, you'll have one of these ancestors on each of your lines. If you want some support in breaking your brick walls or working on any part of your family tree, I'm a professional genealogist specializing in Welsh research, and I can help you out. My email and pricing are pinned to the top of the comments section below. Get in touch if you have any questions. So let's look at another of my Davis lines, one that I have pushed back to the days of the patronymic naming system. If we go all the way back to the turn of the 19th century, we'll find my 6 times great-grandmother, Sarah. She had 6 siblings, of whom at least William, David, Jenkin, and John all went by the surname Davis. Their father's name? David John Morgan. David John Morgan passed away in 1802 in the parish of Llanfair Clydogau in Cardiganshire. He was a farmer who probably farmed somewhere around 100 acres of land. He was also a strong supporter of the independent congregational movement in that area. In the early days of the movement, congregations would meet in secret in people's homes, and those meeting houses remained in use even after these forms of worship were decriminalized with the Toleration Act of 1689. According to a 19th century historian, it is said that the dissenters had been preaching at Pentref Llanfair, which was Mr. D. John Morgan's dwelling, around 1765. But like my ancestor Evan David, David John Morgan wasn't a fancy noble with royal lineage. Of all of my Davis lines, the one that goes back the farthest is the paternal line of my 4 times great-grandmother, Anne Davis of Llanddewi Brefi in Cardiganshire. Her great-great-grandfather was David Davis of the nearby parish of Bettws Bledrws. He passed away in 1781 and was of the yeoman class, so he also farmed around 100 acres of land. His father was a David Thomas, and his father was named Thomas David, and he passed away in 1698. 1698 is a really long time ago, but it still doesn't connect my family up to the old, noble Davis families that trace back to the Kings of Powys. And that's because they don't trace back to the Kings of Powys or any other royal lineage, at least not because of the surname Davis. Realistically, my Davis families probably aren't descended from or even related to any of the people who show up on these Davis coat of arms write-ups. And the same will be true for your Davises and for your Welsh ancestors with other surnames. But don't despair. You don't have to trace your family back to some rich, famous people in medieval times for your family tree to be important. And when you do find the origins of your surname, you'll have a story and an originary ancestor that few other people share. And they'll likely be so recent that you might even have traditions passed down to you directly from them. Like in the case of my 5 times great-grandfather Evan David the blacksmith, I spent my childhood watching my grampy do his own metalwork in the garage. And after finding this long line of blacksmiths, I now know why he could do that, all thanks to family history research. Thanks for watching GenealCymru. I hope that you've enjoyed and are inspired to trace your own ancestors, and remember to send me an email if you'd like me to do some work for you. Here's a little bonus for anyone who's made it to the end of the video. You may have noticed 2 other Davis families in my family tree. I'm descended from at least 5 totally unrelated Davis families. And as of now, I don't have a single Jones ancestor. It seems like my ancestors never did keep up with the Joneses. Ba-dum-bum-ts. And if you're interested in learning more about the history of Welsh names, you can check out one of the videos that should appear on your screen now. Take care.